So you click on this video because you want to know how you can become a professional athlete or even an Olympian. Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I've been able to do it and how you can do it too. So if you want to learn more, keep watching.
Sember, once she won her heat, of course.
Sember of Team Great Britain.
Hi guys, my name is Cindy Sember and I am a two-time Olympic athlete. I run track and field, I run the 100-meter and 60-meter hurdles, and today I want to share with you guys ways about how you can become a professional athlete just like me or an Olympian one day. Or honestly, if you're just curious about how I became a professional athlete. I did one of these videos back about 3 years ago and I want to share a little bit more on it because I get a lot of DMs about how can I get to the high level, how can I be a pro athlete, how can I be an Olympian like you, and I think it's important to share because when I was younger, I wanted to look up to people and ask others how they were doing things. I was very lucky to have an older sister who did a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do, so that was super helpful. So I want to kind of be like the older sister for any of you guys, or even if you're just curious about, you know, what it takes to be at this level. So before I share with you guys some of the things that I think can help you become a professional athlete or an Olympian, I want to share a few things with you that don't have to necessarily be the case if you want to get to this level. The first thing is you don't have to necessarily start your sport from birth to become a pro athlete or an Olympian. So people believe that you have to be doing this for many years, and some people have done that and have been fortunate to do it well and become a pro from it. But some people like myself didn't start until later in life, and that can be you too if you are just now starting out. Another thing I want you to consider is you actually don't have to be good at your sport instantly to become an Olympian. I actually sucked at running track when I first started, and I am now here 15 years later after I started, and I have achieved so much more than I thought I would at this point of my life. And honestly, sometimes it shocks me to know I'm at the level I'm at because of how bad I started. And so I want to tell you guys, you don't have to be good right now to get to this level in the future. Another point I want you to consider is that there is really no perfect age. People like to say, oh, well, you need to be at this age to be a pro athlete. Honestly, you don't really have to be a specific age. Age can be a hindering factor sometimes of, oh, I'm too young, or I might be too old, or I'm not experienced enough. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you're good at what you do. And the last point I want to share with you before I get to the main topic is I was not that child that dreamt of being an Olympian. I wasn't waking up like, I'm gonna be an Olympian one day, I'm gonna be a pro athlete. Honestly, I had different aspirations as a child. I didn't even want to do sports, to be honest, at one point. And it wasn't until a little bit later than most kids that I decided I wanted to play in college. And even then, I didn't think being a pro athlete was in the future for me. It wasn't until mid-college time, which was about age 21, that I considered being a pro athlete. And so just because you didn't always dream of being there when you were young doesn't mean you can't want to do it now. So if any of those scenarios fit you, I want you to know that you can still do this and it is still a big possibility for you. The first thing that you're gonna probably need to have in order to be a pro athlete is an insane work ethic. When I tell you the work ethic it has taken to get to this point, I'm not exaggerating. You are going to have to sacrifice a lot of things, whether that's lifestyle, whether that's food, whether that's things that you normally do that make you feel comfortable throughout the day. You're gonna have to sacrifice and replace that with a lot of hard work. So yes, you might see an athlete and be like, they are so naturally gifted, or they just are making it look so easy, but behind all that was an extremely hard working athlete who put in the time, put in the effort, had the discipline, and really perfected their craft over years to get there. So when I was about 11 years old, that's when I started officially exploring sports. And during that time, I became such a hard worker. I knew that if I wanted to be good, I had to put in the time and effort. I needed to look at what people are doing. I needed to see what I was doing that wasn't working out. I need to improve the things that would help me. And so your work ethic is going to have to increase. I don't know where you are right now in terms of how hard you like to work, but it's gonna have to change and it's gonna have to skyrocket a little bit. And you can do this a little bit each day with the way you are disciplining yourself throughout the day with sleep and eating and whatever that is, the way that you are pushing it at your sport. So right now, let's say you're going to practice every single day and you're kind of going through the motions. You're gonna have to take it from going through the motions to pushing yourself more than you normally do intentionally, because you know that you have a higher goal at mind and you know that you want to be the best of the best. And that's honestly what gets you to the level that a lot of us are at today, is knowing that you are one of the best. I think when I was younger, I had a little bit of I was never a cocky kid, but borderline too confident. I just had this mindset of I want to be the best and I'm going to do whatever it takes obviously legally, to get there. So I think we have to have that mindset if we're going to reach our potential goal when it comes to sports, and if you want to be a professional athlete and make money from this one day. The second thing that you're going to want to do if you want to be a pro athlete is you're going to have to hit some standards and some times in order to get there. So I know I said earlier you don't necessarily have to be good right away, and that is still the case. When I first started running track, I really did not run fast, you guys. I was running times that probably would be embarrassing to talk about right now. I was falling over hurdles. In hurdles, you have only 3 steps in between the hurdles. I was making about 15 steps. I mean, I kid you not, I was doing everything wrong when I first started. But I will say, like I said with the first point, the hard work, the determination, I got better and I was able to run times that put me in a place to be recognized. When I was young, I ran times that allowed me to get recruited to the University of Michigan. When I got to the University of Michigan, I ran times that really put me in a position for agents to come and reach out to me because they wanted to help me get a professional contract. I say all this to say, yes, you don't have to start being that good, but you're gonna have to get to a level where you're competitive with the top in the nation. You might be even competitive with the top in the world in order to get looked at. You're gonna really need to perfect the way your technique is. You're going to have to really stand out. So that might be winning a nationals meet, that might be winning your state meet, that might be winning something that just really sets you apart. What helped me in college was, winning my Big Ten championships. I won nationals. I also placed very consistently high at nationals. And so you're gonna really focus on getting to meets or getting to games, whatever, if this is a different sport for you, and really placing yourself higher. So like I said, it's not easy, but it's definitely doable if you have the ability and you have the skill. Something that truly helped me was like watching film and looking at what other people who are doing what I wanted to do. So I used to look at the professional athletes that were like 5 to 6 years older than me, and I would watch, okay, how is their form? What are they doing? I literally would study these athletes because I knew one day I could hopefully be like that. In anything you do, you want to study and you want to understand and you want to make sure you get the right information. And you still got to do that with sports. You got to go and do your work and do your part in order to get to that point. And by looking at what those athletes are doing, by honing in on your craft and getting faster, you're going to surprise yourself and become one of the best. And that's really what's going to set you apart and make a shoe company look for you. Now, when people say professional athlete or Olympian, they think people are rolling in dough, and that's not necessarily the case. And I actually do another video that I'll attach up here that you guys can go watch that shares the finances of us professional athletes. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, making a whole bunch of money, but for the most part, when I'm saying professional athlete, I'm saying you're a sponsored athlete. So that means you have a shoe company or some other sponsorship going on where you're able to make a living and an income and have like a contract, and you're still able to run. So that's what I mean when I say professional athlete. So not all Olympians make money, because when you go to the Olympics, you don't actually get paid. It's your sponsorships and other things that pay you. The Olympics does not pay you, so that's something that people don't know a lot about. But I just want to make that a clear statement, because I know that there's a lot of confusion with what does a professional athlete actually mean. And in the sense that I'm speaking of it is you're making an income, you can support yourself and still do the sport. And that's how I would perceive professional athlete. And if you have another opinion on that, you can comment below what yours is on that. Next point I want to share with you guys, if you want to be a pro athlete or an Olympian, is your diet is going to have to be on point. Now, when I was from the ages of 16 to about 20, I could really eat mostly anything I wanted. I would eat fries and fast food and all these things and go to a meet and set a personal best, y'all. Like, it was like that. I was blessed at that point, because when I tell y'all I can't do that now at 29, that's a different story for a different day. Now, when I was that age, I could get away with it, but once you hit the stage, everybody is doing everything right. You're gonna really need to set yourself apart by what you're eating. And I think that is what can help you become better, and it can set you apart from the people that you're competing against. So the diet, the food you're eating, the protein intake you have, how you're fueling your body after your workout so you don't get injured, because all of that plays into a fact of how well you're going to perform in your sport. So food really affects the body. There's certain foods that cause inflammation, that cause bloating, that cause fatigue. And we don't really understand that if we don't look into the different foods. Maybe get yourself a nutritionist if you're not necessarily the best at this. Or YouTube is your friend when it comes to understanding different healthy meals or foods you can be eating that will make you feel lean and strong. I had somebody that helped me with my nutrition in 2021. And when I tell you, after I learned this, I set personal bests. I became so much faster. I was ranked top in the world, and I had been ranked top in the world before. And like I said, when I was younger, I could do things before. But in order to kind of get back to that place after I had a really bad injury, I had to focus back on my diet. And I've learned that there's certain foods that I can't eat right now that are gonna probably slow me down. So I say all this to say, diet is gonna make or break you essentially. You're gonna really need to be very cognizant of what you eat. And honestly, if it becomes a habit, you're gonna love to eat healthy. Whenever I eat fast food for more than 1 or 2 days, which doesn't happen often, but maybe in the off season it does, my body craves healthy food again. So I know it might be hard at first for you and it's not always easy, but like once it becomes a habit, if you start doing it for 30 days, it's gonna be a habit, and once it does become that habit, you're gonna enjoy eating healthy foods and you're gonna wanna feel as good as you do. The next point I'm gonna share is not necessarily something that you have to have, but it really does help you guarantee more success, and that's having an agent or someone to help vouch for you to help you make money. So I have an agent who helped me get into meets. He helped me get my shoe contract. This point doesn't actually really apply to the Olympics because you don't really have, to be honest, you don't even have to be a pro athlete to qualify for the Olympics. You can be in college still. You can be 16. Sydney McLaughlin qualified when she was 16 years old in high school. She's a 400 hurdler if you guys don't know her. And honestly, you can be super young to qualify for the Olympics. So this point is not really for Olympians. However, for a professional athlete, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to make this like something that you're having a consistent income from, having an agent will be really, really helpful. He had way more connections than I did. I wouldn't probably have been able to get the shoe contract that I had coming out of college had he not been the person that vouched for me. He had connections with Adidas and Nike and Asics and all the shoe brands, which is essentially how you get your money as an athlete. There's other ways too, and a lot of athletes are doing that with NIL deals, but the big source is usually shoe companies. That set me off so much better. So having an agent or somebody to help vouch for you is really, really helpful. But it's been about 8.5 years and I've had the same agent since, and he's really done a great job to get me into meets and to get me to make money. So look for one and look for a good one because there's some bad ones out there. The next point about becoming a pro athlete is you cannot give up when times get hard. There's gonna be a lot of difficult moments leading up until this point of your life. And when I tell you, like, there's been plenty of times that I was like, well, I guess because I didn't hit that time, that means I'm not gonna be a pro athlete, or because I didn't qualify for that meet, that doesn't mean I'm gonna be a pro athlete. No. For instance, when I was in college, that was around the time when I started thinking about becoming a pro athlete. And I had meets where things went wrong and I hit a hurdle or I fell or something happened and I didn't do as well as I wanted. However, had I just taken that situation and said, you know what, this is a sign from the Lord that I don't need to be doing this sport anymore, I wouldn't be here today, y'all. There are going to be times in this process when it's going to be hard. Hard in training, hard in track meets, hard when you don't get the results you want. Just because you have those moments, that does not mean you need to give up. You have to keep going. You have to have short-term memory. You have to have persistence because it's literally going to be the difference between whether or not you're gonna have a long career or if you're just gonna have like maybe a 1-year career and it's done. So that's something that I truly learned in becoming a pro athlete is like there's so many ups and downs, and just because you're having a down day today doesn't mean you're not gonna have an up day tomorrow. And honestly, it doesn't predict your future. Having a down day today does not mean you can't win the Olympics like next year. That's something I wanna really, really encourage you guys with is even if it's tough, keep going. You have to have short-term memory. You have to push through the pain, literal and metaphorically, because it's gonna be painful. There's gonna be sessions that are gonna make you want to quit. Trust me, I've had many of those and I still am to this day because it's gonna be hard. Nothing worth having comes easy, and sports is nothing short of that. Don't allow age to be the factor of why you can't do this. I've had plenty of people show me that you can do so much from a young age. I became an Olympian when I was 22 years old. And there were plenty of people saying like, oh, well, you know, you're just young, you're inexperienced going into the Olympics, it's okay. I went and placed fourth. I almost medaled in my first Olympics. Experience doesn't always mean anything. You can be great now if you're young. You can be great later when you're older. I've seen plenty of track athletes come back after having kids, my sister being one of them, and running phenomenally. Like, don't allow your age to be a limiting factor or a factor that makes you feel too good, because there's gonna be young kids that are fast too, and you can't just be like, well, I'm this age, so I should be amazing. Like, there's gonna be kids who are really fast too. So just something to consider and to remember if this is a career you wanna go to. And the last point I wanna share with you guys today about becoming a pro athlete or an Olympian is you are going to want to dream big and become an overachiever. I don't go into races wanting to lose. Some people go into races like, oh, well, it's okay if I place 5th or 10th. That's not having the mindset of a champion. I always go in as if I'm about to win, and that is what's gonna make you a professional athlete, is going into races and competitions and meets as if you want to win. I don't think you need to be discouraged by any setback. I don't think you need to focus on anything that happened 2 days ago. Don't focus on what's gonna happen in the future. Just focus on now and have those big dreams. It is okay to want to hit a standard that people have never seen before. It is okay to say, hey, I had this injury, but I wanna come back and prove to people I can do this. And I'm an example of that. I have come back from an Achilles rupture. A lot of doctors told me that I wouldn't, and I came back and I ran my fastest times ever after doing that. So that was a dream that I had. Some people didn't believe in my dream, but you've got to believe in yourself. You got to have faith in God and know that no man can change the plan that God has for you. You need to trust and believe that. So I just want to encourage you that if this is something you want to pursue, dream for it, work hard towards it, and the sky is truly your limit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you some very helpful and useful tips as to how to do this if this is something you want to pursue. I've been at it for about 8 to 9 years, y'all. So, and that's just professional career. I started track when I was about 15 and I'm 29. So 14 years? 14 years now. Crazy to think about. So it's doable. I love it. It is so worth it. And if it's something you want to dream to do, then I encourage you to do it. If you have any questions or comments about this topic, definitely put it down below. I will answer. I love to respond to comments. And if you guys want, you can go follow me on Instagram for more inspirational and motivational tips. And also I'll share some track tips on there too. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.